Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome everyone. Here Guru Nanak Dev Ji begins his discourse on the stages of enlightenment, his understanding and his message to the world of the spiritual stages, the spiritual journey. And what he calls them are khands, 5 places, 5 realms. And he breaks his spiritual journey up into 5 realms. So the first step here is the desire to go on a journey. And if you think about any journey that you go on, the first step is always the desire to go on that journey. So it starts by being inspired to walk this path. And then that intention leads to the actual work that is involved with going on that journey. So the same is true of the spiritual realization path. And we can see that in Pauri 32, we saw the beginning of this desire when Guruji said that the desire should be to jap Naam, ek duji bhau lakho hai, lakho hai, lakhvis. That if I had one tongue, let it be multiplied into millions of tongues. And with those tongues may I recite your Naam. And verse 32 also talked about starting this path. Et rahe path pavadiya chadiye ho ikkis. So on this path there are steps towards the husband, and climbing those allows me to become one. So it's the beginning of that journey. And once we begin this journey, Guruji has given us signposts on this journey, milestones. And the very first milestone Guruji calls Dharam Khand, the realm of religion, the realm of spiritual law, of meditative science. Dharam is a very complex word with lots of different meanings. For simplicity, we can say Dharam means enlightened living, the right divine way of living. And what is required on the first milestone, the first real understanding that you know that you've reached somewhere within this journey. In order to walk this path, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is making it very clear. The first thing that needs to happen is there needs to be a paradigm shift. You need to change your understanding of who you are. Let's simplify these words. The word paradigm means the way you see the world, the lens through which you see the world. That needs to change. The very way you see yourself, the very way you see the world has to change. This is the point at which the journey has truly begun. When your understanding of yourself changes and the understanding that I is an ego. Only at the point at which you know that the ego exists, only then can you do anything about removing that ego, transcending that ego. Notice here how Guruji does not mention how you get to this step as the spiritual journey. Guruji places no emphasis on how this shift happens. Gathering knowledge, religious practices, all of these things are very important, but these aren't the start of the actual journey of self-realization. So we can take the analogy of packing your bags for going on a journey. You can stay at home and continue to pack your bags and unpack, pack and unpack again. The journey doesn't actually begin. You can stay quite comfortable in your own home. And in some way, we have become comfortable in the home of our ego. The I that we live with, we've become really comfortable with that. So we actually never plan to take this journey. We never plan to leave it behind. And within the ego itself, we perform all of our religious duties. We read all our prayers, and we perform all the acts that look good to society and make us feel good about ourselves. And we assume that somewhere after we die, somewhere, somehow, there is going to be some merging with God. That meeting God happens somewhere in the next life or after we die. So Guruji says that the beginning of the journey, the first key milestone of the journey, is when you have a shift of your understanding of yourself. And we saw this shift in the previous verse, where Guruji talks about an understanding of our helplessness. The point at which you realize that you have no control and you surrender all of your power. Within this change is an understanding of ourself. And we begin to change our understanding of our world and the nature of reality itself. So Guruji starts by looking at the world to describe this shift. Guruji starts by saying, Rati Ruti Titi Var. Rati means nights. Ruti means the 6 seasons. Titi are the 15 lunar phases, and Var are the 7 weekdays or solar days. And when we start by looking at the world around us, we realize that the whole world works in harmony, in some sort of natural order. There is an order to everything. There is a system to everything. The whole world is bound by rules. Everything is subject to laws. Day follows night. The moon revolves around the earth revolves around the sun. Guruji carries on describing nature. Pavan, Pani, Agni, Patal. Winds, waters, fires, and Patal are the lower realms in Hindu mythology, in the cosmology of their understanding of the universe. One way to interpret this is Pavan means the air, that which is above. Pani and Agni, water and fire, exist on earth, and Patal is the lower region. So here Guruji is saying that the heavens, the earths, and the hells, all of them are part of some system. So day and night, seasons, water, air, fire, space, heaven and hells, all of these have their place and they all perform their role perfectly in harmony. And this system we call nature. Now, you can only start looking at nature, observing nature, realizing the way nature works when you've stopped focusing on your own life. When you realize that there is a bigger picture in life, and that not all of the stories that are important are the stories of me. There are in fact other stories going on. The earth is a story. It has a beginning and a middle, and at some point there will be an end. The sun has its own story. The solar system has its own story. The galaxies, the entire universe is actually part of a story. And when you start seeing that you are part of a bigger picture, that's when this paradigm shift starts happening. That I am not just my story, I am part of a much bigger story. And that we also fit into this story. We're part of this interconnected ecosystem that we call nature. Rati, Ruti, Titi, Var, Pavan, Pani, Agni, Patal, Tis vich tarti thap rakhi taramsal. The word tis here is interesting because it's singular, it has an onkar. Yet it's talking about all the things that have just been mentioned, the wind and the fire and the water, the worlds, the seasons, the days, the nights. So what we mean by combining all of those into a singular word is we're saying that the combination of all of these have created the world. Tis vich tarti thap rakhi. Thap means to create. Thapya najai. We saw this word before. Thap. So the combination of all of these elements has created the earth. The earth has been created out of these elements. This which tarti thap rakhi has been created and sustained. But how has the world been created? The world has been created as a taramsala. The world is a taramsal. So what do we mean by this? The word dharamsal has many meanings. The first way and the most simplest way that we can look at dharamsal is that it's a enlightened way of being. Dharam, a place of dharam. The earth is a place for enlightened living. Dharam sal. Sal means place. Dharam means the enlightened way of living. So we can translate this line, this which dharti tha prakhi dharam sal. Earth was created and kept as a place of enlightened way of living. What do we mean by this? According to ancient Indian scriptures, heavens and hells were realms known as Bhog Bhumi. And what that means is in heaven or in hell is the place where you spend your karam. Any karam that you've built up, you can either spend it in heaven or in hell. So the fruits of your actions are used in either heaven or hell. But in heaven, you can't earn new karam. In hell, you can't earn any new karam. You're only spending your karam that you've already collected. We can define karam as karmic debt in English. So in Indian scriptures, it's talked about heavens and hells being Bhog Bhumi. The opposite of that is known as Karam Bhumi, and earth is the place where karam can be earned. The place where you can earn new karmic debt by performing good deeds or bad deeds is only here on earth. So right here where we are, we have to live in a particular way where we are earning a particular type of karma. So the question is, what is the right way to live? What are these deeds that we should be doing on earth that means that we spend them in the right way?